Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. Today we are looking at Volcania by Soap and Butter Sandwich. This is a recent submission on New Element and was part of the DKMP Timeline Park contest last year, where the park was kind of built up over a number of different submissions across the entire year. So this is a pretty interesting map in that it's very creative. So the whole idea is our park is built here in this post-apocalyptic setting around a volcano, hence all the orange lava here, and is kind of filled with sort of bodged together rides and ruins of all sorts of different things. So let's dive in, I suppose, and figure out where we want to start here. And there's just so much to see in this park. It's kind of absolutely crammed full. Chaotic is maybe a good word for it because there's just so much stuff to look at, and it all sort of blends in together. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's start over here with the RMC Coaster, which I'm going to call it RMC because that's more or less what it is. But look at the trains here of all different types of ride vehicles. It does kind of follow that sort of similar RMC feel with the lift as it stands here, and then this kind of nice layout actually that goes back and forth on itself. Soap's definitely gotten better on his layouts over time, and I think this is one of the better ones. Really kind of liking the way that this flows through everything and kind of works its way around. This is called Obsidian, by the way. And it's in this pretty nice castle structure here with some good track architecture and just kind of nice layering and walls and everything. This is no custom scenery also, although it does use the expansion pack, so mostly no custom scenery, I suppose. Let's kind of continue on up. I really like this walkway that kind of works its way up to the top here. And then we have this pretty treacherous rope bridge that goes across to one of our two islands here. The first island's got this Ring of Fire, the Ferris wheel, which I think is a clever name for that. And then we have another coaster out here. We can kind of look at our stuff right here, so you can kind of see the launches around here, and then there's also a couple of lift hills. It does go through the Ferris wheel, which is sitting there at 573 miles an hour. Not sure if that was intended or if that's a glitch, but pretty intensive it is. I do love this custom supports. They're kind of just all over the place, a little bit of a mess, but I kind of feel like that's definitely on purpose. Cool thing with this is that even the different trains have different ride vehicles for the whole thing. So lots of kind of meandering layout bits and pieces here, lots of different colors. The colors don't necessarily always work kind of with the overall palette. The blue sort of stands out a little bit, but I do love it definitely has that sort of, I guess, trash pieced together vibe of everything, because all the architecture kind of has this same sort of look with this corrugated metal and the wood, using a bunch of different wall pieces, a bunch of different roof types, and all sorts of just different ruin pieces, dead flowers, all sorts of things like that. Even using the roof types as the pathway, which can in some cases make it sort of hard to read, but at the same time, I can kind of understand the approach for it. Over on this side, we've got a pretty nice plaza here with all these ruins sort of in the middle. And then this larger coaster here called Firestorm. And let's see if we can kind of pick up what's going on here. It's an inverted coaster that uses a bunch of different types of tracks. So we've got the Volcania track here, and then the B&M track, but we got this launched lift hill. Pretty cool support structure on that one, actually. I do love the loop here around the pathway. More or less a standard type layout, kind of meandering its way around. And I do like the corkscrews here at the end, also interacting with that pathway. So lots of good interaction throughout the whole space for all of those bits and pieces. I know I'm kind of skipping around here, but I'm just kind of picking stuff up as I see it. Um, we've got a other rides here. We have this pretty impressive plume of some kind here with go stop by block brakes. I think I can run this again, or not. We can crash that. We will crash that. Never mind. Then we have our one here called Scrap Plane, which is a mixture of 4D and flying coaster seats, which is a pretty wild idea, I think, and just in general. Sort of a, I guess, flying coaster-esque layout, I suppose, with those different rolls and some of the on your back segments and everything. Tough in the fact that the 4D coaster doesn't really draw on some of those angles, but still pretty interesting. And I like this path that's just not even really a path so much in general. And here's our, at least one of the park entrances. I don't know if this is the only one or not, but it's pretty understated, pretty unassuming into the whole space. We probably saw this earlier as we passed by our Tornado of Souls. I know Soap loves his Toboggan, and this one is pretty interesting for one. Some kind of oddball vehicles here. I guess there must be some expansion pack stuff, but running all sorts of different trains. Pretty wild approach here of of just the spiral down with this big kind of circular tower around the whole thing. And I've kind of been saving this back side here till the end, so we'll finish up there in just a minute with this this pretty huge flat ride. It's called Burning Views. I'm not entirely sure how it's intended to work necessarily, but it kind of looks like it's sort of suspended up on a cable that the whole thing may tilt downwards somewhere and I guess load and then come back up. It's sort of like a very impressive Condor type ride, I guess. It's looks pretty terrifying, to be honest, but it's neat. It's a good structure. I kind of like how it looks like there's almost a cable that runs over here and then down that could potentially lower or raise the thing up. And we do have a couple interesting shots here of our volcano itself. So there's a nice dam here. If I remember right, during the timeline part, this actually had burst at one point and came down through here, destroying the traditional wooden coaster, which got rebuilt into this one. So that was kind of a fun detail. And then we've got this pretty cool lava flow coming down here through the dam and down into our kind of rapids of lava down here. But I think the kind of star of this whole map are these two rides here. So this is two different coasters here. So we have Vulcan and we have Vanguard, the red and the silver coaster, and they are very impressive together. So let's kind of pick up this guy here as we come around. We've already kind of passed through a number of parts and pieces, and I've already lost him. Oh, he's up here now. Which this is kind of neat. I like this big kind of cantilever precipice out here before it dives down into another inversion. Kind of an absolutely chaotic layout. Some flow here and there, and little bits and pieces. I mean, the nice thing about this is that there's really no sense in having to focus on too many realistic details because we're talking about a park in post-apocalyptic volcano land. But that's all right. Like, I think this is more so just kind of interesting layouts, lots of interaction, which is what we're getting here. Just kind of so much different stuff. So there's that one arriving at the station. Let's see if we can pick up one from the red train. Here we go. Maybe. There we go. So here's Vulcan. Another dive loop. Threading that loop there, wrapping around to another dive loop here. A overall. another roll through this space. And then we have the kind of secondary piece here, which actually this is the first part of the ride. I just picked it up halfway through with the vertical lift, and then this beyond vertical drop, a banana roll of sorts, I suppose. Some other rolls. I mean, these are incredibly long layouts. So this one is 7,600 feet, and the other guy here, if we can grab one of the trains, is 7,500. So pretty impressive, just overall the length and how twisted they are inside the space. It actually works really well together, and I just kind of love these big knots of track with the pathways sort of filtering through. And the simple fact that custom supports were even attempted in here is very impressive. The kind of fun thing about this, I guess, is that since we're not having to recreate some kind of specific B&M supports, you can kind of do whatever and have these pretty cool, just random support structures like this loop here that has this big lattice piece around it, and you can just kind of do cool shapes and just kind of different things. So here's a pretty good example of that. I mean, the RMC single rail track has been incredibly effective with these kinds of rides, about doing just really, really good, clean scenery for our scenic supports in no custom scenery builds. So very, very impressive overall, I would say. And still the building too, similar to that first station that we looked at, but still quite nicely done. And kind of all of the architecture throughout, although it gets somewhat kind of the same as it goes across the whole area, it's still very detailed. Like I said, a little chaotic, but that's not necessarily a bad thing in this instance. I really do like this setup here with the flowers, the kind of bones scattered around, and the ruins. This area feels really kind of well done with this sort of chasm here of the volcano original park or original game piece, I guess, taken in different pieces to act like rock work. So very kind of nicely done through there. Kind of some of these little bits and pieces, such as the jagged land here, has a very old school kind of feel to it, old school RCT2 feel. So lots of interesting stuff here. Would encourage you to download this yourself and have a look, because there's quite a lot going on in here. I know I've missed a lot of other little bits and pieces, and actually if you download the files from Dirklink's site, you can get all the different years for this whole park, so you can kind of see how it was put together year after year, which is kind of fun to watch the park get built over time. But congratulations to Soap for finishing this. It's a pretty large project, and I think one of his first large park releases, so well done there for sure, and certainly looking forward to the next one. So until next time, thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Bye now.